Have you ever stopped to think about just how many different cultures there are in the world?
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, there are 195 countries recognized around the globe.
And each one, even within those countries, you've got so much diversity.
Exactly. So many different ways to see the world, to live life.
Different customs, traditions, beliefs. It's incredible.
So in this deep dive, we thought it would be fun to take a peek at some of those fascinating cultural differences.
And maybe uncover some surprising similarities along the way.
We've got some great material to dig into. Articles that explore some really unique customs from different corners of the world, and even an academic text that looks at cultural universals.
Yeah, that'll give us a kind of framework for thinking about what's common to all humans and what makes each culture special.
Our mission, if you will, is to give you a bit of a shortcut to understanding some of these intriguing aspects of culture.
Without completely overwhelming you, of course.
Right. We want to keep things digestible. So, to start, let's zoom in on something that we all use every day, language.
Okay, good idea.
And to make things even more manageable, we'll stick to some very basic A1 level English.
I like it. It's like starting with the building block.
Exactly. And even with these simplest elements of how we communicate, we can already see culture at play.
How so?
Well, think about the simple act of saying hello.
Okay, yeah, everyone says hello.
Right. And our ethnic studies source, Collective Culture Our Lives, points out that greetings are a cultural universal. You find them everywhere.
Makes sense. It's that basic human need to connect, to acknowledge another person.
Exactly. And in English, hello serves that purpose perfectly. It's our standard greeting.
But even with hello, there are variations.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Like
that.
we also say hi,
Mhm.
which is a bit more informal, right?
All right, more casual.
And then we've got good morning, good afternoon, good evening, which tie the greeting to the time of day.
So the core idea, the purpose of greeting someone remains the same.
Yeah.
But the specific words we choose when we use them, those things can differ.
And it makes me think about something we read in that article, 11 surprising customs from around the world. The French custom of greeting with a kiss on the cheek,
Ah, yes, the French kiss.
which is definitely a bit more involved than just saying hi.
For sure. But again, it's a greeting. The purpose is the same. But the way it's done, the level of formality, even the physical contact, that's all culturally determined.
It really makes you think about the different values and social norms that shape these practices.
It does.
So moving beyond those initial greetings, let's think about how we express positive feelings, liking something. In simple English, we might say, I like this, or, this is good.
Pretty straightforward.
And it seems like this ability to experience and share enjoyment is another thing that's common to all humans.
I'd agree with that.
But here's where culture gets really interesting. Remember that Japanese custom of slurping noodles, also from the Surprising Customs article?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
In many Western cultures, slurping your food is kind of a no-no.
Yeah, it's seen as bad manners.
But in Japan, that slurping sound is actually a sign of appreciation. It's a way to tell the cook that you're really enjoying the meal.
Wow, so the same basic feeling, this tastes good, is expressed in a totally different way. And a physical action that might be rude in one culture is a compliment in another.
It shows how much our understanding of the world is filtered through our own cultural lens.
Definitely. What we consider polite or impolite, appropriate or inappropriate is all learned.
Okay, let's look at one more basic language function, showing respect. Even in simple English, we use phrases like yes, sir, or yes, madam, using titles to address people.
Right.
We say please when we're asking for something, and thank you to show gratitude. These are all ways of showing respect with words.
Basic politeness markers, we could call them.
Now contrast that with the Yoruba greeting custom in Nigeria, which was also in our Surprising Customs article. When a younger person greets an elder in Yoruba culture, it's not just about saying polite words.
No, it's much more physical. The article described how young people are expected to kneel when greeting their elders.
And in some cases, men even lie prostrate on the ground.
It's a completely different way of expressing that same underlying value, respect for elders.
One culture uses verbal cues, the other uses a really strong physical gesture. It's fascinating.
It is. And it also raises questions about how different cultures view hierarchy and power dynamics.
So as we wrap up this look at basic language functions, I think we've seen a really interesting pattern.
What's that?
Even at this very simple level, A1 English, where the basic purposes of communication are similar across cultures, like greeting, showing enjoyment, showing respect.
Yes.
The actual words we choose and the actions we use to express those purposes can be surprisingly different.
It really highlights the power of culture to shape even the most fundamental aspects of human interaction.
Absolutely.
Really?
And recognizing these seemingly small differences is so important.
It's a first step in understanding the much broader and more complex range of cultural variations we encounter in the world.
And it reminds us to be careful about assuming that our own cultural norms are universal, or that everyone will interpret things the same way we do.
Exactly. It encourages us to be more observant, more open-minded, even when dealing with what seem like the simplest interactions.
So let's do a quick recap before we finish this deep dive. We started by acknowledging the incredible diversity of cultures around the globe.
195 countries and countless variations within them.
Then we focused on some really basic elements of language, A1 level English, to see how even in these fundamentals, we find both commonalities and some really interesting differences. We looked at greetings, expressions of enjoyment, ways of showing respect.
And we saw how these basic functions can be expressed in so many different ways. From simple words to physical gestures, from polite phrases to, well, slurping noodles.
And I think the key takeaway here is that while there might be these universal human experiences, the need to connect, to express our feelings, to show respect, the ways in which we act those things out are incredibly diverse and shaped by our cultural backgrounds.
So as a final thought for our listeners to ponder, consider this. If even something as simple as saying hello or showing you like something can be so deeply influenced by culture, what other everyday actions might carry surprisingly different meanings depending on where you are in the world?
What seemingly ordinary things might be interpreted in ways we never expected. We encourage you to be curious, to pay attention to these differences in your own interactions, and as you continue to learn about the amazing tapestry of human culture. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.